during Bernie's campaign, he would say often at rallies that despair was not an option, that we have to stay focused on our goals, that we can't let the establishment, the corporations, the billionaires, um, like impact us. We can't let them get that in our head. We can't let them make us feel like we're helpless, like that it's hopeless and that we're powerless, right? And he would constantly remind us that we the people have the power, right? Because there's way more of us. But also that all those forces, the establishment, the 1%, they're going to throw everything at us because we are threatening the status quo that they benefit from, right? We with this, the future to believe in, not be us, right? Our goal, our purpose was to change the system so that people and planet were prioritized over the interests of corporations and billionaires. Because the path that we're on right now, this path of modern capitalism, and this which has created this culture of cruelty, where people, animal, and planet, we're treated basically as simply commodities, a means to extract as much profit as possible, right? In a lot of cases, we're dehumanized. There's this war with Mother Earth, where we're just have this abusive relationship with her in order for like a handful of wealthy people and corporations to keep making more money at the expense of us, which is horrific. And the pandemic and the climate crisis are obviously, loud and clear signs that this path we're on is unsustainable and it has got to change. And with the climate crisis, we're getting to that point where irreparable damage is going to happen within a decade or less, and we don't have time, right? So when you look at that data, it is easy to get into despair. It is easy to start feeling panic and anxiety. And I can tell you, like, I'm in here in California, and I've lived in California most of my life, and in the past like 5 years, the fires have never been this bad, and they've gotten worse every single year. And last year, we there was a record-breaking over 4 million acres burned, which was more than the last 3 years put together that burned in 1 year. And looking at the data this year, and also noticing, like, over the winter we had very little rain. Like, it was very noticeable, the lack of rain that we had this winter. And and at one point I saw reports that we were 17 to 19 inches behind in terms of rain, which is really not good, right? And now our governor has just declared a drought in most counties in California. And so in a couple months we're heading into a fire season, and admittedly, like, I'm really nervous and concerned about it. So it's not looking good. On the positive end, though, I mean, we're getting good at fighting the fires, so our ability to respond to them and evacuate and set up centers has gotten better, but that's still not comforting, okay? And so it's easy to get into that state of despair, and anxiety and stress, and especially now, right? There's also a lot of things going on. The pandemic is still going on. What's going on between Israel and Palestine is causing a lot of stress and anxiety and panic with people here. Again, there's still like millions of people who are dealing with healthcare issues. There are millions of people still, who don't have jobs. They're possibly going to get evicted. So it's really challenging. It's just stuff is just really challenging, and it is. It's there are moments where it is like, how do you not get in a state of despair? How do you at least maintain a level of balance, right? Where, you realize, okay, yeah, there's a lot of crappy things happening, but there's also good things happening. There's positive things happening. Progress is happening. And that's why, like, one of the things that I like to do, that personally helps me when I start to feel myself diving into despair, because I know many of you know me as the one that's like, I'm the pep talker, right? I'm the one that gives people pep talks, but believe you me, there are times when even the pep talker needs pep talking, okay? And where it is easy for me to get sucked into the despair and the negative news and feeling hopeless and helpless and just like getting in that space. Like it is easy for me to get in that space too, which is why, and I have shared this many times, right? Like it is healthy to get off of social media and stop watching the news, because if you spend hours and then days doing that, it will impact you mentally, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. It'll lower your vibration, your frequency, your energy, and it'll just put you in a dark, dense place. So you have to be conscious to spend your time, to allot your time and put time doing things that make you feel good, doing things that make you feel productive, doing things where you feel creative, where you feel like you're contributing to something bigger than you, where you feel purposeful and you're starting to feel fulfilled. Or you're just feeling loved, or giving someone or an animal love, right? It's one of the great things about having a pet is that you have, this dog or cat that you can love and hug and play with, right? And they keep your mind off of other things. Or having a hobby, or being involved in a sport, right, helps you get your mind off of everything that's happening in the world, and get your mind in where you're doing something fun, you're doing something creative, and again, you're doing something that puts you, like, keeps you in a more uplifting, higher vibrational space. Okay, and even when it's tough, it's helpful to be conscious and find time where you're doing and you're taking care of that, because there's, as much as stuff is going on in the world and as much as we want to change things, you've got to prioritize your wellness, your health, your mental wellness, your physical wellness. Nothing is more important than that. Okay, and you should not ever sacrifice those things and essentially martyr yourself, martyr your health, because of anything that's happening outside in the world. Because the world will go on, it will do its thing, but if you get yourself to the point where you're burning out, or you're taking out your aggressions on others, you're getting more involved in habits that are not healthy or helpful to you, or they're getting destructive, or depressive, right? It's important to catch yourself when you're in those situations and go to your support system. And even if you feel like, or you think you don't have a support system, you do. And actually, that's one of the things about that I have personally loved about Twitter, is that when I've had moments when it's really bad, and I don't typically do this because I'm one of those, like, oh, I'm strong, I can do it myself, I can fix myself and take care of myself, right? I'm one of those types. But there have been times when it's really bad, and I've actually gone on Twitter and just asked strangers if I could just could anyone just send me, like, pictures of elephants, because that makes me happy, or could somebody Like, I need someone to talk to right now or whatever. And it's been amazing, like how strangers, complete strangers on the interwebs, right, on Twitter, will just come and like, look, you need you need a friendly ear, here, DM me, right, or here's my number, or yeah, here's cute videos of elephants and dogs and kittens and whatever, right? It's pretty amazing how helpful like Twitter has been in that aspect. I don't know about Facebook or Instagram, but why not try, right? Especially you have your community that you've built there. But it really is amazing how much strangers will come out and help, even if you just simply need to hear kind words, which I know is very important. That sometimes just one kind thing that somebody says to you that day can make the world of a difference in how you're feeling or viewing the world. And that's why I also try my best to do the same thing too. When I notice people are down or feeling stressed out or feeling hopeless, helpless, or powerless, to like lend a friendly word or two, or even just sending a hug emoji, right? Just acknowledging that, hey, I see you, I feel you, you're not alone, right? It makes a world of difference. So if you're feeling in that state of despair, like, I highly recommend that. And also vice versa too, like helping others like helps you feel better too, because you are connecting to another human being, you're giving, you're caring, and again, that's where, as human beings, those things are important to us and make a difference in our health and our wellness. So there is positive stuff to social media. Although, again, on the flip side, it is easy to get involved in the doom scrolling, right? And that's the stuff that can easily get us sucked in to feeling the feeling despair and feeling helpless and hopeless, and powerless. And again, I'm here to remind you, because partly a big part of it too is to remind myself that, again, we the people, when we come together, we have the power, right? The Not Me Us movement, we have not gone anywhere. Okay, well, it may not look as organized and high level and energetic like it was, but we're still here, and we still have that ability to get to that level, and we are still working towards things, and we're not giving up. We are going to continue to fight for people we don't know. We are going to continue to organize and mobilize. We are going to continue to stay focused in any way, any shape or form or capacity that we can, right? You don't have to go full board. Even little things that you do a day, and if you need a break, take a break. Don't ever martyr yourself for the cause. Believe me, I have done that before multiple times, had to learn the hard way, but nobody wins when you martyr yourself, right? Especially to the point where you're sacrificing your health. Completely not worth it. And if you find yourself in that space, please go take care of yourself, prioritize your health, and people will be there. Everything will be there when you get back, but most important is you got to take care of you. And which again leads back to, despair is not an option. Let's stay focused. I know at times it looks bad. At times it feels bad. It feels hopeless and helpless. But there are things that are happening in the world, in your community, in your space, where we are winning. Progress is happening. There are wins, right? And you kind of have to look for it. I know that sounds like a bummer, but mainstream media, the establishment, they don't want us to have too much good news, which is a sad thing to say, because again, then we get hopeful, right? And then we start organizing, and then that's not good for them, right? They have a vested interest to keep the status quo in place. where we are out to change that, and we will. I even on my down days, I still stay optimistic that things will change for the higher good of all. That at some level we will get to a point where the priorities of people and planet come before corporations and billionaires. I'm hopeful. I am. I'm hopeful, optimistic that'll happen. The timeline of when that happens is a whole other thing. So that's another video. But for now, again, I just wanted to come in with a reminder that despair is not an option. However, you're not alone. We are still a movement, are still here. We are not powerless. We are not helpless. We are not hopeless. We are tenacious. We persevere. And if that's the one thing, if I can ever take away with, like, the biggest thing that I have ever learned from Bernie Sanders, as a leader and as a moral compass, is tenacity. Like, that man has the tenaciousness and perseverance that is like a superhuman power. And it's awesome. And it is, watching Bernie operate like that, just being himself, has taught me to be very similar, and has inspired and motivated me to do the same. Stay focused, stay tenacious, and never give up, because we can't give up, and we're not going to, and we have each other. And as always, solidarity.